Okay, we are going to look at a couple of examples dealing with curvature. And first, we want to talk about lines. Now, lines should have no curvature. Let's think about why that should be, right? If we just quickly sketch a line in space, we can see that, let's say this is the direction of my line. Well, my unit tangent vector never changes in direction. And that's what curvature measures, but let's prove it. Suppose that we have a line given as a vector function so that we have x0 plus at, y sub 0 plus bt, and z sub 0 plus ct, where abc is the direction vector. And let's say that t can range from negative infinity to infinity. Now, recall that our formula the formula that I'm going to use here for curvature will be for parameter t, and that's going to be the magnitude of the derivative of my tangent unit vector divided by the magnitude of the derivative of my vector function. So we have a lot to work on here. Let's first find our unit tangent. Our unit tangent vector is going to be the derivative of our vector function divided by its magnitude. So we need this first. We need a lot of things, so it doesn't matter, order doesn't matter here, but we can see that the derivative of our vector function, because it's a line, x0, y0, and z0 are not dependent on t, so this is just going to be a, b, and c, and the magnitude of this derivative vector will be the square root of a squared plus b squared plus c squared. And so our unit tangent vector is abc divided by this magnitude, square root a squared plus b squared plus c squared. Now, let's go back and look at that formula for curvature. I need the derivative of the unit tangent and its magnitude. So, since I have the unit tangent right here, let's take its derivative with respect to t, and ABC are constants. So I have 1 over the square root of a squared plus b squared plus c squared. That's a constant, but the derivative of a with respect to t is 0. The derivative of b with respect to t is 0. The derivative of c with respect to t is 0. So this is the 0 vector whose magnitude is 0, which means that our curvature definitely has to be 0, since the numerator is the magnitude of our derivative of the unit tangent vector. So lines have 0 curvature, makes sense. The direction of our unit tangent vector is never changing. Now, let's take a look at a parametrized circle. So let's suppose that we have a circle that looks as follows. Radius r, I'm going to center it at the origin. And this will be r cosine t. I was going to say theta. This will go in the counterclockwise direction, r sine t, and we're just looking at a circle in 2 dimensions. So I'm going to let t go from 0 to 2 pi, which means I'm only attending to 1 rotation. All right, we're going to do the same thing, right? If I want to find the curvature, we're going to need the magnitude of the derivative of our unit tangent vector divided by the magnitude of the derivative of our vector function. So our derivative of our vector function is going to be negative r sine t and r cosine t. Those are the components. And the magnitude of this vector, since I need it for the denominator of curvature, let's go ahead and do it. That's going to be the square root of r squared sine squared t plus r squared cosine squared t. We can factor out our r squared, and we have a Pythagorean identity that we know is equal to 1. So sine squared t plus cosine squared t. And so this will be the square root of r squared times 1, which is just r. We're assuming the radius here is positive, so I don't need absolute value. Okay, now let's go and find our unit tangent vector. Our unit tangent vector is the derivative of our vector function divided by its magnitude to ensure we have a length of 1. Okay, we found these already. We know the magnitude is r, so we're going to take our vector negative r sine t and r cosine t and divide this by r. And so that gives us negative sine t cosine t. Now, we're not done. We still need, for curvature, we are going to need the derivative of this. So we're going to need the derivative of our unit tangent vector, its magnitude, divided by the magnitude of r prime, which we already found to be r. So we're getting there. Now, t is negative sine t cosine t, so now we're going to need the derivative of our tangent vector. So t prime will be negative cosine t, negative sine t. I just took the derivative of that function. The magnitude of this vector will be 1, but let's check. That's going to be the square root of each component squared, so cosine squared t plus sine squared t, which is 1, by the Pythagorean identity. And so we can now find the curvature. Curvature, well, the magnitude of our derivative of the unit tangent is 1. In the denominator, we had the magnitude of the derivative of our vector function, which was r. And so we have shown that the curvature of a circle of radius r is 1 over r. So they're inversely related. Let's think about why. If I have a circle with a very tiny radius, then the curvature will be very big because I'm dividing 1 over a very small number. Curvature is large. Well, okay, if I have a circle that looks like this, yeah, my little unit tangent vector is changing pretty quickly along the curve. This is a clockwise circle. Now, if my circle has a very large radius, then the curvature should be quite small because of this relationship. Right? If I do 1 over a very large number, it will be a very small number. So curvature is small. Let me erase that mistake there. Small. And that makes sense because if I have a very, 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 very large circle, the unit tangent does not change as quickly. So curvature of a circle is 1 over its radius, and lines have no curvature.